status quo bias. We want to stick with what we know. And generally in organisations, people will manipulate data, information, the truth, to keep things as they are. So one of the businesses I used to go out to work with in the States was a business that 15 years ago was incredibly successful. It's the 4th largest retailer on the planet. 15 years ago, they were in the book Good to Great. Have you come across that book? Yeah, so they're in Good to Great. Now, they're in decline. And one of the reasons why they're in decline is they're refusing to look at the data. They're refusing to look at what's actually happening in the business. And you get hubris syndrome. So when you've been successful, you think you're successful, and no harm can come. You think you are immortal. Of course we're not. So that's status quo bias. The next one is complexity. So often when you think about global warming, and people will say, oh, it's so complicated, and all these kind of scientists with their ideas, and there's a contradiction. It's so complicated, I'm not going to do it. Does this make sense? I'm doing one of these sessions in the NHS later on this week. Some leaders in the NHS, and their world is so complicated, and their response to it seems to have been, because just as they're making a decision on something, then David Cameron says, oh, no, we said you had to hit those targets in A&E, but here's another 300 million because of the election next year. And they're just getting over that, and he said, oh, yeah, I just came up with another idea. GPs now can work 7 days a week. He has some thoughts about people who pay for all of that. So these people in the NHS, why would we bother trying to work out how to do this stuff when they keep changing the game, the goalposts, the rules, every 5 minutes? Making sense? And then the next one is presentism. This is a really fascinating idea. So the guy that came up with this idea is Dan Gilbert, Harvard psychologist, and he worked out that when we, at any one point in time, we stand in the present moment. When we look backwards, we think we are recalling memories, and our memories we think are like video files. But they're not. They're like compressed computer files. And when we open up a memory, we open it from where we are today. We open it up from today's moment. And we do the same when we think into the future. So most people, when they think into the future, they think it's going to be like today, but just a little bit different. So they do what I call 13-month thinking. I can see to the next year, but no more. And so I'm going to concentrate on the next thing. And most people live from 1 week to the next. They lurch from whenever your week starts. I think from Friday night to Friday night. Just get through another week. If I can just get through this week, and then I'll get through this year. And then I don't know, we'll see what happens. And when we're starting to think about how is the world changing, this can really get in the way. Because people think the world isn't changing that much, and it's just going to be like today, a little bit different. And in 10 years' time, it's going to be like it is today, but it can be different. But in 10 years' time, what will you be doing? Okay, I'll ask you a meeting. Yeah, how old will you be in 10 years' time? 30? 32. 32. So you think about what will you be doing in 10 years' time? And you could be working, you could be raising kids.
Living in a totally different work and having a job.
Hopefully you've got a job. So it's quite a big thing. So actually starting to think into that is very difficult because the gravitational force is to keep us in the moment. So the next one then is control. And we like to be in control of our lives. We like self-control. And if we feel that we're not in control, we feel what? How do you feel if you're not in control? Anxious. Yeah, so we like to have control. And this means with all of this chaotic, crazy changes happening around us, we feel uncomfortable. So we want to try and control things and eliminate what doesn't work. Then we've got over-optimism. So, you know what optimism is? I don't have too many subjects here. So over-optimism, if you know what optimism is, over-optimism is?
Being extremely positive about things.
Yeah, being kind of over-positive.
Unreasonably positive about the whole.
Say?
Being unreasonably positive or hopeful about the future.
Yes.
Or everything.
Yes. Yeah. So, And in organisations and businesses, you see this an awful lot. They'll come up with a new strategy, we're going to conquer a new market, and how are you going to do that? Well, we've got Fred, and Fred's going to go and sort it all out. Fred, clearly on his own, is not going to be able to sort it all out. So often big ideas, but not supported with the right resources, the right plan, the right capabilities, the right thinking. So that's over-optimism. So often we've got our kind of the plane, and we call it kind of landing and sustaining big change. And often that's where the planes crash. So an organisation, business will come up with, we've got a new strategy.
Does this have an air of hubris to it as well?
Hubris? Yes, you're probably right. Yeah. These are, I've drawn it as a sort of like an infinity loop, because they're all interconnected. We pull them out for academic purposes to separate them, but actually they're all interconnected. And then habit. I mean, habit is a great one. Do you have any habits?
Yeah.
Yeah. What habits do you have?
Reading, something.
I don't talk about bad habits. I'm talking about any habits. Sorry? You share every day. That's lovely. So, good. That's a good habit. I don't want to be judging your habits, but everything, well, virtually everything we do is a habit. Have you ever noticed that everyone walks in a very slightly different way?
Yeah.
We can demonstrate it now. Who's got a really cool walk? You've got a really cool walk. I want to see you walking down here, as you would, when you're about to get on that speaker for that last journey. Are you taking people with you when you go? You go in. So you kind of go up and back. We're going to go out solo. Thank you. So we need another walk now. A completely different walk. Let's have another walk. Who'd like to volunteer to walk for us? Me? Okay, yeah, it's not fun for me to have. I'm going to do it anyway. If we have a kind of lots of shoulder movement, you see that shoulder movement walk, it's quite swaggery. Because I just think it's going to be cool. Yeah, come on. What's your name? Lucy, great, Lucy. Let's see it.